Welcome to case 001. What happened to Interstellar Marines? What's up, everyone? I am Frank, and I'm here to present to you Interstellar Marines. Interstellar Marines is a game about interstellar marines. So, Marines in space. It's a game about fucking space marines. Firstly, I do want to warn you, in the footage behind you, you will see some major MLG shitplays where I die over and over again, because guess what? It is fucking hard. So what makes Interstellar Marines special? To be honest, if I could put it into words, I would describe the game as, well, a small scale SWAT simulator in space. Like, can you imagine if System Shock was a milsim game? That is basically as close as I can describe it, and that's not a bad thing. To be honest, I even remember playing a bit when it was released and really having a good time. Even actually, it leading into me getting into a lot more realistic games, like Arma, for example. I didn't get into the DayZ craze when it was the biggest, even though I actually bought it, but this game did. It sure as hell got me into like more realistic shooters, and I'm so happy for that. So, with all that fun out of the way, with that being said, what the fuck happened to this game? At the time of recording gameplay, there was a whopping one player online, a thing which I personally see as a sign from the universe that I shall forever hunt alone. One thing you might actually notice while playing is that you aren't simply a view model, you actually have a full body in game. The game actually features physics-based movement, and even in the HUD. Like, to be honest, it is actually still to this day very impressive, and few other games comes to mind actually doing it like that. So it's almost worth it just for the novelty of seeing that. This in combination with just how the guns in general look, handle, sound, and just feel to pull the trigger on makes it so satisfying to take that crucial shot to drop the enemies you're actually overlooking at the time. The HUD itself actually adds tons to the immersion and atmosphere, and some parts of like the actual missions, or well, campaign I guess technically is, it's like, oh, when it's so dark and you have your flashlight and you slowly move tactically throughout the structures in this huge sci-fi base or ship, like, it's fucking amazing how that feels. Now, the maps themselves, they usually have several objectives which you need to do in order to complete them. And like normally it's not super obvious where you have to go, so you actually have to basically search through the location, and maybe you have to find switches or so, or maybe keys or terminals, in which order when you take and interact with them, well, then you can basically go on and progress through the map. Uh, and normally, when they were actually pointed out, when I played at least, it doesn't actually show where it is until you've been lost for quite a while. And and like the respawns are limited, which is just fucking cruel in this case for someone that's used to like more casual games, I guess. So, well, it's great actually, it's great. Now, while the footage have been rolling in the background and I have been talking, I do promise that I'm not as shit as it looks. The game is actually pretty fucking hard, not gonna lie. Enemies hurt you a lot, and the game is actually meant to be played with a couple of friends or so, and not solo. Even if it's possible to do so, you'll be eating dirt a lot. Now, all of this must sound super good, right? I mean, atmospheric, the guns feel great, the maps feel great, it's actually fun to play, but well, sadly, no. What the game does lack is content. And like the game has been in early access for 7 years and it definitely doesn't help its case. The game's development basically stood still completely for a couple of years, and it was standing still for so long that it basically killed any chance the game had of a comeback, and now it's too late, I fear. There was even going to be an Xbox 360 and a PlayStation 3 version of the game, but they were cancelled, most likely due to all the development issues it seems like the game had, which is sad. I actually think it could have had a market in the early early days, so to say. The PvP is sadly also dead, as of now at least. But back in the day, it used to be really fun in the right company, and it's kind of sad to see a game like this go because you see a lot of potential and it just backfired everywhere. You can get the game today for €8 on Steam, and sometimes you get it on a discount. And even though it does lack content, it is a fun game. And if you can snatch it on a sale, having it for a Friday night with a cold one with the boys, you know, and role play as Space Marines for a while. That's some good shit. So maybe then it is actually worth getting. Uh, the last update on the game, as of recording, was last Christmas, and all it was basically a small event with some funny hats. There are very few weapons, very few maps, and the player base is basically dead. But for some reason, you can find a 250-page free book in the Steam forums based on this universe that the game is set in. And the game still has people that really like it for a very good reason. And it is sad to see the game end up like this because of just development problems. There was also rumors of the game getting its code lost during development, which further made it worse. But however, I couldn't find an accurate source to confirm this rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. I don't know what to say really anymore, and it makes me kind of sad because if you aren't willing to play it for some novelty and the fact that the game is dead, then I can't recommend it at all. But the game is genuinely fun, but in its current state and with the game's development most likely now being completely over, buried, and burning in hell, just it's sad. But if you can find it on a sale for like €2 or so, just go for it. It will be fun for a couple of minutes or hours, depending how much you want to spend on it. Um, but yeah, so I guess it's time to wrap up. I do think that we can let Interstellar Marine serve as an example of a game who has potential, but it just because of the development issues, the community starts dying down, and then the development slows, and then the community dies down even more. So the resources run out, and basically, it is a very sad example of this, of the snowball of failure just rolling down the hill. And I do genuinely wish the developers of the game luck on their next project, because they clearly had potential. Maybe they should just start over from scratch and try to basically fundraise or something else. Sadly, I do think that's a very bad idea, considering how the first game failed, but sometimes it's just better to bury the game and start over. So yeah, Interstellar Marines, I salute you. 35 hours of fun you gave me before you fell in combat. You deserved so much better. Frank signing out. A bit of a TLDR. I would like to thank those of you who actually watched this far. And I do have more footage of the game, which I'm just gonna let roll on because, well, I'm actually pretty happy with it, and it shows off some different maps and how the game actually works. And well, thanks everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.